So as your website gets bigger and you create more page templates like we have over here on the left, you're going to want to have ways of being able to customize each page that you create in the admin section. And you'll want to have different maybe CSS rules apply to the About page, and then different CSS rules apply to the FAQ page and the home page and so on. You just might want to have that deeper custom control over the look and feel of each of those pages. Well, there's a great way to do that with WordPress. So just quickly to review, right now here's what we're working with. We have our index page. This defaults as our home page right here. Okay? And we also have a header partial and a footer partial. So that's good. This is kind of best practices. These are recognized file names in WordPress. The header has all of our kind of opening HTML header code all the way past the opening body tag, and then including our navigation menu. So our brand name and navigation menu across the top, which you can kind of see here. Brand here, navigation menu. So basically after this blue edge stops, that's what the header template is pulling in, this header partial here that we're looking at. Okay, and then as you can see, the index file just includes all that code using this one line of code here, get header. It goes and lifts all the code from in here inside of header.php and just injects it. So you could imagine basically that all of this code, basically all 46 lines of code here, are kind of being pulled in here. That's sort of what you could imagine. And then the same thing with the footer down here. We're saying get footer. So grab the code from here, this code here, these 3 lines, and inject them right here into the bottom. Okay, so that's how this is working so far. And then we also went ahead and added a few page templates. Our default page template, which looks like this. Again, it's going and grabbing the header and footer. And then it's got a basically simplified version of the home page. It's the same PHP code, except we just don't have the welcome call out that we do on the home page. And then we've got page slim. So this is just a slimmed down version. We added some Bootstrap code, and you learned how to do that. You just look at the Bootstrap website, look at their examples, and then you copy over their examples to get it to work. So we used a 6-column grid, and we offset it by 3 on the left to get that slim look. So now let's go ahead and do this other best practice I'm talking about. So I'm going to run the project by clicking this. I'm going to click Run Project to start up the server. Okay, so now that my server is running, I can go over here and refresh, and it's working. And what I'm going to show you is this. If I were to right-click on this and hit Inspect, right now I'm just on the About page. You could be on any page. You'll see up here there's this body tag, and WordPress kind of injects this class equals customized support. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Go over to our code and head over to your header.php, because that's where the opening body tag is. For me, it's on line 20. Okay? And right there, we're just going to add one line of code, and it'll look like this. We'll just say space, and then add a PHP snippet inside of this body tag, and we want to close that as well. So look at that. Look very carefully. This is our PHP block right here that we're going to inject code in. This is the closing angle bracket. This is the opening angle bracket for the body tag. So inside of here, and I'll space this out just so you can see it. So in here, we're going to add some PHP code. And it'll look like this. Body underscore class, parentheses, and then we can have our semicolon there. Okay, so save your file. And then if I go over here now, look at the body class now. If I refresh after saving, now look at it. It's a lot more filled out. And let me tell you what this is. This isn't just total junk that's been added into the body tag. What we have now is a unique way of identifying this particular page. Okay, so WordPress has assigned this page to be ID 14. It even tells us what template we're using, the default template here. And if I go to our FAQ page, so for me, I just go up here, / and then FAQ. Notice that in the URL there. And if I hit enter, you'll see this has a different ID. It's got its own unique ID of page ID 17. And then it's saying that we're using the page template called Slim. Okay, and it also tells us things like, okay, the user is logged in right now, and the admin bar is there. Okay, so there's a lot of identifiers that have been attached to this body class, and the cool thing about that is now I can use code with CSS to target this particular page. All I have to do is say, okay, this is page ID 17 in my CSS, and I can target this particular page and add styles. And I'll just show you really quickly how we could do that. So we know this has this kind of page ID 17 class name here. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go over to our style sheet, so style.css, and then down here I'm just going to say dot and then page ID 17, just pass that in. And then in curly braces I'll just say h1, sorry, under here we'll say h1, so we'll just target the h1 and we'll say color red. So let me explain what I'm doing. I'm targeting only the page that has body with a class of page ID 17, and that got generated by WordPress and placed right here. So I'm targeting this particular page, and I'm saying, okay, any H1s on this page, which is this guy, let's turn it red. So let's go over to our code, make sure we've saved this. We're saying, okay, any H1s inside of this page, we'll turn it red. And notice in CSS, the way you do that is you just add a space after the class name you're targeting, and you say any H1s underneath this. So in other words, any H1s that exist underneath this body with that class of page ID 17 will get the rules applied. So let's refresh, and there we go. Now we have a red heading there. And just to prove that the page with ID of 17, this FAQ page, is the only page that got this rule applied, I'll just go over to About Us. I'll click it over here since I have it in my nav menu. And you'll see this is an H1 as well. I can right click and hit inspect, and there you can see this is an H1 in the inspector, but it's not red. And that's because we're saying in our style sheet here, only a page that has this class name in it, any H1s underneath any element with that class name, and in this case it's the body. You could also write it like this in CSS. You're saying the body tag with that class name, any H1s underneath that or nested inside of it will get the color red. Okay, so I'll save that and just go back again just to show you. If I go to the home page, any H1s here, nothing is red. Only happening on the FAQ page. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe this out. That was just to demonstrate for you how that works. So that's one of the benefits of adding the body class to your opening body tag. And just remember, because we're using the get header link, we have reusability. We write this code once inside of header, and we inject this body class magic once inside of the header PHP file, and then we can just simply include that with one line of code on any of our other templates like we have here. Just like it's right there, right here as well. And so that's the benefit of using partials. So I'm going to refresh this now so that it's back to normal.